in Chapel Hill. State championship rematch from a season ago. Round 3 between perennial Class 1A powers, Mount Airy, the reigning champs. Tarboro here in championship weekend for a 7th consecutive time. With that, we welcome you inside Keenan Stadium, getting ready for the next on the list of the championship showdowns alongside my broadcast partner, former Tar Heel, Eric Gash, Jason Patterson here. And Eric, that really is the storyline. This, in many ways, round 3 between two of the greats in the state. It is round 3, and Jason, they're tied 1-1. And so this is going to be a tiebreaker today. And what the interesting thing is, in 2017, Tarboro won, and they held Mount Airy to 7 points. Last year, Mount Airy won and held Tarboro to 7 points. And so something's got to give, right? And it's going to be Ironman football. Conditioning is going to come into play. Both teams are starting 6 players that go both ways, right, on offense and defense. So we'll see how conditioning comes into play, but I'm excited and ready for this game to get started. 20-7, the final a year ago in favor of the Bears, but as he told you, they split the two most recent. Makes today all the more interesting. For a little more on these communities, this matchup, and everything surrounding a state championship environment, let's check in with the third member of our broadcast team. Here's Evan.
Thanks, guys. Today's matchup pits a 9-time state champion in Tarboro against the 8-time crown, the reigning 1A champs in Mount Airy. All season, Mount Airy did not utter the words Tarboro T. Head coach J.K. Atkins called it a silent language. We don't speak of the words Tarboro. We don't discuss Tarboro. They want to enjoy the view from the mountaintop. The real carrot in his eyes is securing the program's first back-to-back title in 100 years of Mount Airy football. Tarboro earned first blood in 17. Mount Airy evened the score last year. So for head coach Jeff Craddock, he went all in. On his yearly trips home to Christmas, he stops at the local Sheets in Mount Airy and understands the environment he's ready to battle in. His staff spends extra time during bye weeks watching film. And in fact, Tarboro even dedicates an extra period on special teams. That was the big difference in last year's state title game. And the Tarboro Vikings, they want to get back to the mountaintop. This will be a dynamic matchup, a rematch, and two programs that are definitely thinking about one another, guys.
So it is a familiar refrain. Let's go ahead and dive right in, Eric. The Ingles food for thought. That's your keys to the game. Walk us through what it takes to be a champion in 1A.
Yeah, so looking at Tarboro here, no turnovers. They have to take care of the football, control the tempo with that run game, and stay disciplined on defense. They're going to be tested, as well as you're looking at for Mount Airy, slow the run, right? That's what Tarboro likes to do. Reestablish the line of scrimmage by imposing their will and make a big splash play on special teams.
State championships are won by premier players. Who are you keeping a particular eye on in this showdown?
Looking at Cameron McDowell Moore, this young man has over 1,000 yards rushing. He averages 9.4 yards per carry, over 1,400 all-purpose yards, so look for him to have a really big game today.
Then on the flip side?
Oh, yeah, Ian Gallimore. Now, I'm pointing out his defensive prowess right now. He leads the team in tackles. He has 86 solo tackles. He also is the quarterback on defense as well as on offense. So we're looking for him to have a big game, and he's going to have to be in order to stop that Tarboro running attack.
A Class A title rematch. It's a showdown of unbeatens and a meeting of two of the great communities in the state of North Carolina. Only room for one champion, however. We'll find out who it is next. Well, just about ready for Tarboro and Mount Airy. All the pageantry having been handled. We have honored this amazing country in which we live, the freedoms that we enjoy to play football and make memories on days like this. And now the attention turns to these two captains meeting in the middle of the field. You know, you just had the sense we might be back here when the dust settled on the championship a year ago. Yeah, these programs are, traditionally they're powerhouses. They're well-coached teams, as you can see. You got here unblemished, both of them 15-0 for Mount Airy and 13-0 for Tarboro. And, they're excited about it. I mean, keep in mind, this starts back in July, with preseason workouts. You're in the weight room. You're running wind sprints. You're doing stadium stairs. You're doing all of these things. And to add on to that, you're in class when school starts. You have to be good citizens in the classroom and good sportsmanship, and it all culminates right here, right now, and we're expecting a great game between these two powerhouses. And once again, it's a rematch from last year. Yeah, business taken care of in Raleigh a season ago. Chapel Hill this time around. You saw Mount Airy win the toss, defer to the second half, so you're going to see That trademark, that famous Tarboro T right out of the gate here offensively in a few moments. But these two head coaches, the job they have done this year, you got a quick glance at Jeff Craddock and J.K. Atkins there. There's a look at Coach Craddock one more time. The job they've done, when you are the hunted, Eric, and you still find a way to bring your team back, as these two teams did in their respective region, it speaks to the coaching ability of both these gentlemen.
Yeah, I love what Coach Craddock does when he travels home for Christmas. He stops in the sheets and just kind of feels the pulse of the community and kind of what's going on. I absolutely love it. But, you know, these programs are led by these two awesome men, and they pour into these young men. And these players will remember this for the rest of their lives.
The word that surfaced from both sides, respect. The tremendous respect that these two programs have for one another. Now, there's another word starts with the letter R. There's a rivalry involved, and it's an emerging one between these two programs, that's for sure. But plenty of respect because of the way they both handle their business.
It is, and you talk about not necessarily bragging rights, but they're tied 1-1. They've both been held, you know, in the losses to 7 points, and so something's got to give, something's got to break. And we're looking forward to it as kickoff is about to ensue right here from beautiful Kenan Stadium right here in Chapel Hill. I love it.
There's a familiar face. Walker Stroop places it on the tee. Remember, he was a defensive standout in that championship game last year. Also handles the punting and kicking responsibilities, and he puts a foot into it here. And Stroop's kick is going to be handled at the 20. Well, I say handled. It's still on the turf and is finally going to be covered up inside the 19. But by who? Mount Airy believing perhaps they came away with the football, and truth be told, they're still fighting for it at the bottom of the pile, but our official makes it clear right away. It will stay with Tarboro, so crisis averted for the crew out of the east. Here's how it looked.
And I tell you something, that ball is probably like a greased pig. You're trying to get on it, and that ball may have exchanged hands a couple of times underneath that pile. I've been a time or two on some of those piles, and the unthinkable goes on underneath that. But, you know, they dodged the bullet right there, Tarboro did, because that's one of the keys to the game for Mount Airy is make a splash play on special teams, and they were so close to doing it there.
Well, here is that now renowned North Carolina formation that you're used to seeing from the crew in purple and white, and this is going to be on the ground as you would expect across the 20 to the 24-yard line. Here's a look at the starting lineup for Tarboro.
Yeah, and so when I look at that offense, I wanted to mention all three of the running backs because they all three have 1,000 yards. That's 3,000 yards in the backfield, and so, you know, they're going to have a big game today in order to make a dent in this defense here from Mount Airy.
3 1,000-yard rushers for the first time in program history, it may surprise you to know, for Tarboro. And when that's the case, Eric, you have to give tremendous credit to the offensive line. Guess what they do here? They state their will and push the team forward for a first down. There is our initial NC 529 first down of the football game, and the Mount Airy defense on the screen for you. They were the headliners in this matchup last season.
Yeah, the big fellow that's on the screen there, 6'4", 221. That senior, let me see, that's Derek Dandy. You got to love this guy. He's 108 tackles and 11.5 sacks on the year.
You've met two of the three that complete the defensive trio. Caleb Reed, the other, whose name you'll hear time and time again as the day goes along. The two you met prior, and his effort, one of the great trios you're going to find anywhere in the state. And, you know, this is a team that has been really good, particularly against the pass this year. The Mount Airy D, that doesn't help you much today.
Right.
Doesn't help you much today.
You just throw that out the window. We may get a pass or two. I'm not sure, just to keep them honest, but yeah, it's going to be ground and pound right here.
The run hasn't been too difficult for them along the way this year either. This is going to be stacked up right at the 35-yard line.
Yeah, you know, and for Mount Airy, you're going to have to reestablish that line of scrimmage. You're going to have to hold your ground. You're going to have to fill those gaps and be disciplined and trust your eyes, you know, what's coming at you, because it's almost like a shell game when you look at that backfield.
All right, unique offensive approach, early third down coming, and we'll see who sends the first strong message in this contest. It's going to be that Mount Airy defense staying home, allowing nothing, and forcing the fourth down. Maybe a clinic on how you have to handle things on this particular series of downs.
Yeah, I agree, JP, and it looks like they're forcing them into a punt right now, but that's just being sound. You know, when you're on defense and you're pursuing, you want to keep your shoulder square, work your way down the line of scrimmage, and keep everything in front of you from defense, and don't overcommit, right, and just wait for the cavalry to get there.
And so McDowell Moore touched the football. You saw Satterfield touch the football. A couple of carries for Everett as they did move the chains one time with that Tarboro tee. But set to kick it away this time around are the Vikings. And retreating, letting that bounce at the 15, and that's going to keep on rolling. It takes a Tarboro roll inside the 10-yard line. That will be the field position for Mount Airy. We'll introduce you to the surrounding cast for the Granite Bears offensively and find out what they have on their opening drive of the football game on the other side of the break. After the Mount Airy defense made its presence known, we give you a look at the Mount Airy offensive starters. The Granite Bears not too shabby on this side of the football either.
Yeah, Tyler Mason, number 5. He has over 2,000 yards rushing. This young man averages 14.5 yards per carry. And, you know, we're going to see a full dose of him.
Well, and Tarboro defensively a statement of their own to begin things as Bridgers gets in there, and a look at his surrounding cast as they try and slow this Mount Airy attack.
Oh, yeah, they're going to have to. And looking at number 3, Christian Gunther, he has 91 tackles. Tyler Powell, he's a defensive end, 7 sacks and 41 tackles. So they're going to have to be sound as well up front. You know, just keep their shoulders square and play the gaps and let it come to them.
Those are your Tatum and Atkinson starting lineups for these two teams. All right, this is the initial possession of the football game for Mount Airy. What can you share about their offensive approach, and what do you need to see from them early in this one, Airy?
Yeah, I mean, so Mount Airy, they're going to want to, you know, like on defense, reestablish a line of scrimmage. They're going to have to dominate that. They're going to have to continue to keep their defenders in front of them, double team where they have to, and widen those gaps there for number 5, Tyler Mason, to continue his just his romp through the defense with, like I said, over 2,000 yards. But they're going to have to, because there's some big boys up front for Tarboro, so they're going to have to make sure that they keep them in front of them.
Doing just that right now. How about the way this defense is swarming to the football? Plenty of congratulations. Cameron Harper, among others, shaking hands with everybody on the defensive side of the football after this.
There you go, man. And look, they're reestablishing the line of scrimmage and penetrating, keeping the shoulder square. You know, if you're a young defender, you want to make sure that if you do get across the line of scrimmage, keep your head on the swivel, keep your shoulder square, and attack the football.
So it's 4th down and set to kick it away. Retreating in an effort to return this is the senior Clark. It's going to be away from him, away from everybody, and out of bounds on the Mount Airy side of the 50. So stellar field position suddenly coming for Tarboro.
Yeah, and it may be that type of game, JP, that field position and trying to flip the field, because both of these teams have outstanding defenses. You know, you look at Mount Airy, they have a 46-point differential. They only give up 5.8 points per game, and in Tarboro, they only give up about 7 points per game with a 37-point differential. So it's going to be who can impose their will first, and we've seen both defenses bend but not break here.
We talked about that trio for Mount Airy, right? The trio of Strop and Reed and Ian Gallimore, 318 total stops this season between that group. Yeah. You know, that averages out to over a century apiece.
There you go.
About it.
That's right.
Pretty good group leading the charge defensively.
Yeah, those linebackers, you know, and this is, you know, the D-line up front, man, it's not glamorous. You're going to have to occupy 1, maybe 2 blockers to free up your linebackers to flow through those gaps and make those tackles. And, yeah, we see them. They have 100 apiece, and they're going to get their work in today. I guarantee you that.
Here comes a 2nd down play on the Mount Airy side of the 50 for Tarboro. The team's looking for that first moment offensively, and they continue to keep it on the ground. Continue to feed the combo of McDowell Moore, who you've seen. Here's Everett again getting the carry, the sophomore. The luxury of having 3 backs with over 1,000 yards rushing. It's kind of mind-boggling.
It is, and you know, partly because, JP, it's hard to game plan for it. You know, the quarterback does a great job of kind of that shell game. You know, when you're trying to find the shell, and he's moving and flipping it, and those linemen are firing it off the ball.
Well, on 3rd down, they're going to give it to McDowell Moore, fumbling the football. as he crosses over. It looks like it was covered back up by Tarboro, and it's going to be enough to move the chains with a NC 529 first down. Well, first down secured by Cameron McDowell Moore for a little more on McDowell Moore. Boy, lost the football there. Somehow, looked like he was knocked right back onto the football, Eric. He's going to be a key factor today. Let's check in with Evan for a little more on number 2 White.
That's a lucky bounce for Cameron Early. He just turned 15 last month, and last year as a freshman, not even Todd Gurley, he was the first freshman ever to be on the varsity as a running back. And head coach Jeff Craddock's noted he has the quickest plant and explode on the earth he's ever seen. That leaping ability and that quick cutting is what makes this running back special.
Well, and I'll go back to the point he made at the start of that hit there, Eric. A fortuitous bounce.
Yeah.
And it looked like he was knocked right back onto the football by somebody on that Mount Airy side of things. So stays with Tarboro. This is not music to the ears of the fans on the far side who have made the trip over from the eastern part of the state, as they'll be backed up and now behind the sticks at 1st and 15. But the good news for that group, Vikings do still have possession of the ball and plenty of downs to work with, as this is the first down moment. Through the heart of things, right down that left hash, is Satterfield. But in what way, as you compare and contrast them, do these backs bring different things to the table? When you talk about McDowell Moore, who we just heard a little more on from Evan, when you talk about Everett, when you talk about Satterfield, give us a sense of each one of them, Eric.
Yeah, I think you're looking at, maybe here with Satterfield, just a powerful runner, right? He's going to get you those hard 2 or 3 yards, whereas the young fella, he's going to maybe, get out on the sweeps and the darts, and you run him kind of like on sweeps and reverses and things like that. He's going to line up and be a lead blocker, but he probably doesn't want to, right? But I tell you what, they're very effective with each one of them. Over 1,000 yards rushing.
The battle really going to be won in the trenches on this day, though. On this occasion, the give to Caden Everett is met by a host of Granite Bears.
Yeah, you look at number 32 there, Derek Dandy. This young man, he's something special. And you see Joyce there, D-line as well. Sophomore. Both of these teams are kind of young, JP. And I tell you something, it's going to be exciting.
And remember Joyce now, he worked his way through the right side of the punt formation to block a kick, set up a short field in one of the key moments of the championship game a year ago. So that's the other thing we haven't maybe talked about yet, as the incompletion gives another lift to those on the near side who are representing Mount Airy, is all of that experience of having secured the victory a year ago for Mount Airy, and so many of those players back, Eric, something you don't always get in the state championship environment.
And I'll tell you something, that experience means a lot, because this environment is bigger than they played in all year. And for some who's on the team for the first time, is the first time ever playing in this environment. And so going to that, just having that experience and saying, hey, calm down, breathe, control yourself, that leadership means tons in a game like this.
Well, it was set up as great field position for Tarboro, and now standing back right at the top of that North Carolina logo to kick this down inside the 5, and it's going to roll on into the end zone for a touchback. So it will be Mount Airy football on the other side of the break. These two familiar foes settling in.
Don't pay those high credit card rates for your holiday gifts. Dazzle her with diamonds and pay no interest for up to 24 months on your purchase at Windsor Jewelers. Saturday, December 9th, shop interest-free on all in-stock loose diamonds and diamond jewelry. Only at Windsor Jewelers.
From coast to coast, from the Great Lakes to the Gulf, at Spectrum Reach, we make local businesses big and big brands look local. We help businesses grow with the best content, insights, products, and people. We are proud to partner with businesses in your neighborhood, like this one.
Smithfield's Chicken and Barbecue. Break away from the everyday to Smithfield's Chicken and Barbecue.
Welcome to Spectrum Reach. Let us show you around the neighborhood.
Don't pay those high credit card rates for your holiday gifts. Dazzle her with diamonds and pay no interest for up to 24 months on your purchase at Windsor Jewelers. Saturday, December 9th, shop interest-free on all in-stock loose diamonds and diamond jewelry. Only at Windsor Jewelers.
Renowned football communities meeting in the middle in Chapel Hill, Bell Tower. Picturesque day for the noon kickoff of the Class A state championship game between two teams that met across the way in Raleigh a year ago. 20-7 the final in Mount Airy's victory over Tarboro. But as we shared in the open, for those of you just finding us, round 3 between these two in recent years. And a toss near side up across the 25. And there is Tyler Mason. He is a Virginia Tech commit, the 3-star running back and one of the senior leaders on the Mount Airy side of things. Granite Bear is going to rely heavily upon him today, Evan.
Not only highly relied upon, he is the all-time leading rusher at Mount Airy, 5,900 yards. He added 110 touchdowns. But the best part, he's honoring his uncle Rodney, who ended up playing at Wake Forest, was a running back in this backfield. And we saw Tyler today. He said the job's not finished, quoting Kobe Bryant in a state championship game.
Well, they know where the end of the season is. You know, you talk so much about being able to continue to practice when the turkey's on the table and when the Christmas music is playing, being able to be a part of the conversation. These are two teams, isn't always the case in a state championship environment, but these are two teams who expected to be here and expect to close the deal.
Yeah, you look at the big fella, Naquavion Davis, number 65 there, is winning those. The trenches is almost like a totally different game is going on. You have to win those battles each and every time individually. And if you can win that, if you can impress your will in the trenches, you'll have a great chance of winning this game.
And Naquavion Davis, a reminder of the type of Ironman football you're going to see throughout. He starts on both the offensive and the defensive line for Tarboro. So many of these players who will spend the majority of the day out there, even when they change sides from one possession to the next. An NC 529 first down. All of our first downs in this first quarter brought to you by NC 529. It's never too late or too early to start saving for education with NC 529. First down toss. Mason again. Flag comes in behind this. Likely to be walked off against Mount Airy. You see the reaction of the QB, Ian Gallimore, which tells you everything you need to know.
Yeah, and you see, it looks like they may be coming back. But, you see him running that veer, and that read, Gallimore's just going to read it. If the defender pops out, he's going to give it. If he sits there, he's going to read and pitch it.
Holding. Offense. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Replay first down.
Yeah, so we see him out here. Yeah, he's just got. See, you just got to let him go. When you see the arm start to flail up like that, it's like, yeah, you got to let him go now. But that's just a hustle play. Great play by both of those young men. But got to be able to hold there, and it moves them back. And now they're off schedule behind the chains. But I have a feeling that this offense may be equipped for this.
Yeah, 1st and 19. Maybe a little more than on the flip side. We saw to this point one dimension, but what a dimension for Tarboro. Mount Airy. Going to see the toss out. There's Martin. The running back is up across the 25, and he's going to keep fighting beyond the 30-yard line. Gets all the way up to around the 32. Tayshawn Martin, over 1,400 yards in a breakout season, and his ability certainly passes the eye test, and he just announced himself to the state championship.
Absolutely. This young fella averages 14.7 yards a carry, and we get a glimpse of it here. Why? We can see why. That's yards after contact. He's taken half, if not all, of the Tarboro defense to take him down. Great run by the young fella.
Well, the pressure he takes off Mason as well. The 1-2 punch they become. Speaking of which, right back to who else? Tyler Mason. He comes near side, and he's up across the 35. We're going to mark him at the 37-yard line. Still about 3 yards shy for Mount Airy.
Yeah, and that's just a speed option. And reading that defensive end, he bit quickly, and so he went out. Look at the blocking by the receiver. Great play by the defender there. And what I love about this, look, after he tackled him, he helps him up. You talk about sportsmanship. That's fantastic.
Back to that respect factor that exists between these two programs who expected to face off against one another at the end of the year. 90 seconds remaining in the opening period of play. Defense, the order of the moment, as neither team allowing anything thus far, and defense stands tall one more time for Tarboro. 4th down is coming, as 3rd down is good for only about a yard.
Yeah, and Gallimore helps, one of the defenders from Tarboro. Man, this is going to be, I love watching good, hard football being played, but sportsmanship as well. And I tell you something, JP, adding up to be a defensive struggle.
And the other thing you notice about this game right away, and it's what you expected coming in, two teams that keep it on the ground as much as these, this one's going to pass by rapidly.
It sure is.
Inside the final minute of the opening quarter, it's J.K. Atkins and his staff looking on as the offense stays right out there for fourth down, and before the play runs, timeout is going to be called for. You know, those guts are there, right, on the fourth down calls, but sometimes right before the snap. Wait a minute, let's talk this over at least a little more. That's the case for Mount Airy here.
Yeah, and you just want to make sure you have your best play, because if they don't get it here, they're giving up some pretty good field position to Tarboro.
Now, this is the type of field position that Tarboro had the last time around, which speaks to the shutdown nature of the Mount Airy D and the way the defenses have played. That'll give you the confidence to go ahead and roll the dice well on your side of the 50.
Right, because you got to be thinking, listen, we have, 2 yards to get? We're in the championship game. We have to be able to get 2 yards, right? So he's going to be talking to the offensive lineman to let them know, hey, fellas, right now we need it all. It's a big push. And then on the flip side, on Tarboro, it's like stay disciplined, watch the football, because they may try and give a hard count to get them to jump off to get a free first down. But it's going to be important right now that in the trenches that you win your individual battle. If you're Mount Airy, the Granite Bears, that you drive them back. And likewise, if you're Tarboro, that you don't give an inch and let your linebackers fill the gap.
Maximizing the outcomes on the possessions you have, because you don't know how many there are going to be today. Help lead to these kind of decisions. Fourth down, offense remains out there for the Granite Bears. And spinning around up near the marker, it would appear that Tarboro was able to withstand the push up front and turn this effort aside. Vikings did. Turnover on downs at the 39-yard line.
Huge play by Cole Craddock. You know, look at the head coach there high-fiving and congratulating him. That was a huge stand, because, listen, that was just 2 yards, JB. And I'm going to tell you something. 2 yards in a state championship game.
Did you say Cole Craddock?
I certainly did.
This young man, second of the sons of head coach Jeff Craddock, to play for his dad. He talked about this week and sharing with us how special it was to have Cole out there. The fact that he's going to have him another year when all is said and done here. But he talked about the unique nature of this team for him, because all of them being Cole's age means they've been in his home since they were young children.
That's right.
He said, I probably know this team better than any other that we've ever had, simply because from the time my boy was young, they were in and out as his best friends. They've stayed that for a lifetime across the course of their career, and today they compete for a state championship.
Yeah, those relationships matter, and Coach Craddock can look at him from a different perspective. They're going to hear him differently because they've been in his house, and he's probably cooked for them and spent the night and had all these great memories together. They're going to take the coaching.
Key moment for the Craddock family. For a little more on that connection, let's check in with Evan Fieldside. Evan?
At Tarboro. So his son Clay played in 2019 in the state title game and lost. He called that the hardest loss of his career. Now with his second son, he mentioned raising that family, bringing it together. And when we come back, that Craddock family look to get on the board here after this first quarter.
Our West Shore home first quarter stats, speaking to the dominance of the defensive thus far.
Yeah, evenly matched. I mean, look, there it is. Penalties, not a big discrepancy. 5 yards there. Time of possession about the same. It's going to come down to defense.
Tarboro with the football and smothered up after the handoff. Boy, host of jerseys there of that darker variety to get the job done, including D. Dawkins, who is standing right over the top of Caden Everett when all was said and done. I'm going to give you one more number here, and it's a number from both sides. We talked about how both these teams rush the football, and that's about it. How about these defenses? On the year, 3.9 yards per carry allowed by Tarboro, 2.3 yards per carry allowed by this group from Mount Airy. You think about that and the challenge it provides today. Another dose of Everett, who is going to work his way beyond the sticks, and there is our initial Hardee's first down of the contest. Hardee's the sponsor of our second quarter first downs. Hardee's, goodness in the making.
Yeah, it looks like a little counter there. Once again, you have to stay true to your eyes, what you see, read your keys. You know, if you get a false read and takes you out of the play, that's one thing. But if you're on defense, flow goes away. We're always taught as a linebacker or defensive, flow goes away. You squat, keep your head on keep your shoulders square, and look for a play coming back.
Again, Everett tries to look for some room, maybe a yard or two. What were your takeaways from the first quarter, Eric?
Defense wins championships.
There it is.
I mean, you hear it all the time. If the offense can't move the ball, they can't score. I think it was, one first down and two by Mount Airy or by Tarboro. And, you know, defense is going to rule the day. And we see it playing out here. Here we are at the doorstep of the red zone. And it's, 2nd and 9?
Yeah, talking about NC Red Zone, looking for a little love right now after that first period of action. And they work their way into it, this Tarboro group, across the 25, just inside it. And another third down coming now. On third down, both teams 1 of 3 in that first quarter of action. Here's a look at that last play.
Yeah, just a quick fullback trap, trying to hit them hard, trying to get them flowing. You know, you give them some eye candy with the backs flying out of there and hoping that those linebackers will chase it and fly out as well. And those D linemen going to have to just squat, don't give up an inch, and take what comes to them.
Third down, they're going to call it 6. This over the left side, but again, a number of Granite Bears right there, and providing the stop this time around is Caleb Reed. Mentioned Reed as a part of that trio. Reed, a guy who rushed for 43 on 9 carries in the state championship game a season ago. Most outstanding offensive performer honors, and he added 9 tackles on that occasion. Already beginning to roll some numbers up here in the first half, the second time around.
I love it. Senior linebacker following his keys, and when he arrives there, he's bringing everything with him.
Now going for the 39-yard try, low trajectory, but it is through the uprights. And the first points of the contest secured on a Tarboro field goal. On a day where points seem as if they may be few and far between. First blood drawn by the Vikings.
In 100 counties in North Carolina, we have over 800 agents. We are within the communities, and our job is to help you. It's not just a business relationship, it's a friendship. North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance. Helping you is what we do best.
Well, the halftime report, not that far away, it seems. You'll want to stick around for the Honda Dealers of the Carolinas halftime report. Find the perfect Honda for your home with Happy Honda Days, which are ongoing. See your local Honda Dealers of the Carolinas. Today we're going to have an interview with Commissioner Q. Tucker. You'll find a lot more about the North Carolina High School Athletic Association. Stats, highlights, a whole lot more coming your way as part of the Honda Dealers of the Carolinas halftime report. Set for our Smithfield's Chicken and Barbecue kickoff after a 39-yard field goal from Gaspar, which puts the Vikings of Tarboro out front 3-0. And here comes the return, as it is going to be Martin all the way back near the 30, 28-yard line where the drive will begin. So, okay, points for Tarboro. And a 3-0 advantage.
Yeah, and it may come down to that, you know, special teams. And this is the first kickoff that we've seen in 2 championship games right there where they kind of pushed them back. Kickoff and kickoff return is one of the hardest things to practice because you can't really do it full speed, especially at a 1A school when you don't have, you just have limited personnel. To do it full speed, man, you're going to run through your team too quickly. And so, yeah, good coverage, good return.
Granite Bears being asked to answer here. Weaving through is Tyler Mason. What have you seen from the Virginia Tech commit in the early stages here? The 6'1", 195-pounder at the running back position.
Elusiveness. I see power. Shifty, puts his leg, puts that foot in the ground. He gets north-south. And his first half, they're still poking and prodding and testing and seeing what they can get away with. And, knowing, Coach Atkins there, he's setting up for something that's going to come in the second half. Play action pass, tight end or receiver right straight down the seam. It'll be interesting to see how that develops.
We talked about Reed, the offensive performer in the state championship game a year ago. Obviously, the returning most valuable player from the championship contest is Tyler Mason, whose praises we've been singing throughout this first half. 23 carries for 139 yards, and he scored all 3 of the Bears' touchdown en route to that most valuable player award a season ago. So he's one of those you file away in the been there, done that category, trying to make sure the second time around is just as enjoyable as the first.
Yep, Tech is getting a good one. That young man, good size, huge upside.
Third down, they'll sweep it this direction. Mario Revels carrying the football. Another of those seniors as he is rushed out of bounds. And this is near the sticks, but not beyond them for Mount Airy.
That's right. Yeah, 4th and 1. And what's interesting there, there's team speed on both of these defenses. And to negate the speed, you run right at them. And that's what they've been attempting to do. But then they tried the little stretch play there, and they got a couple of yards going to lead them. I suspect they're going to hit it straight up the middle.
What's good for one is good for the other. Now nearly drawing the Vikings offside. Ian Gallimore comes back up toward the line now. Barks out another instruction or two. We'll see if he snaps it. He does. Guess who? Plenty of room. Much more than the first down required. And into Tarboro territory is Tyler Mason with a first down of the Hardy's goodness in the making variety.
Yeah, you can only hold them down for so long. Great play. That's just a power play where you block down on the play side. You pull that backside guard and tackle and lead them up through the hole. That was a great play design by the Granite Bears. 9
carries, and that one pushing the statistical category a little higher, as it is the longest of the afternoon so far. A 20-yard rush. They toss it right back to Tyler Mason, and he is swallowed up. White jersey swarming everywhere this time around. He's just behind the sticks. Going to be 2nd and 11.
Yeah, once again, that team speed, there by Tarboro, that defense. As you run east and west, man, it gives those linebackers, it gives the DBs a chance to flow. Now, I suspect that they may be doing this to set up something, maybe reverse pass. So, yeah, we'll see. But that was a great pursuit by the defense.
Second and 11. Going to be right up the middle with Gallimore. Well, we've been talking defense for a little more on some of the individuals on this Tarboro defense. Let's go field side, check in with Evan once more.
Omar Lewis is a senior defensive back. He's committed to East Carolina as a DB. And this week, Tarboro has a yearly tradition of practicing on turf field. They went to East Carolina, spent the whole week practicing. Omar, of course, plays quarterback, but his strength is making tackles on defense. He's made a couple of nice plays early, guys, and what a week playing at your future school and now trying to win a title for your current program.
One of the things you love about the quarterback slash DB is he doesn't have to do much change to the wardrobe, right? He's got those colors right where it needs to be a Pirate, and what a thrill it must have been to cap the year by practicing on the field where he will soon be playing on Saturdays. We'll see what kind of impact he has on this Saturday. Here's our call.
Offense. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
Not every day you get to play on a Saturday in high school, but he's one of those that'll make Saturday participation a habit moving forward. Tremendous player on both sides of the football.
Sure will, and I can only imagine there are a couple of players out there that's going to be, continuing their football career on Saturdays. Hopefully some right here at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill.
Oh, well, there you go. Here's the pitch. You knew we couldn't get through the entire weekend without that taking place. 3rd down and long coming for the Granite Bears of Mount Airy. To the skies. Deep shot. Turning to locate the football was Rebels, but it'll be just out of his reach and fall incomplete when all is said and done. You know, may not happen often today. You have to honor it effectively when it does. That's the case for Clark and company here as they turn aside the deep shot.
Yeah, and you know, there may have been a question mark with Tarboro as far as their pass defense and how well they're able to defend it. We see right there the young fella, Shamondre Clark, and you see him defend it really well.
You give Shamondre Clark credit, Eric, because he did turn to face the football at the very end of that, and that's so often what they look for. Now the punt coming, kicking it away from right around the 40-yard line. Mount Airy. This is going to take an unkind hop, and there to secure it before it goes further in the wrong direction was Tayshawn Martin, and it will be Tarboro football with 5:17 to play in the opening half and a 3-0 advantage for the Vikings. You know, Evan talked a little bit ago about the opportunity to go to East Carolina when you see the future Pirate filling up your screen there. He said we've made that a habit, and as they've made a habit of getting here in the state championship environment, matching his jersey number 7 in a row in the state championship environment, which is just remarkable to even consider. But one of the things that is the treat, that is the payoff for this team, is they get to go there, play in a turf environment, particularly when you're going to be here and understand what that is like, something they don't do across the course of the year. And the other piece of it, just a reward for a job well done.
Still first.
And a delay backs it up, so it'll be behind the chains at 1st down. But let's not underestimate the value of a day like this, a day like that, even from a practice standpoint, and a lifetime memory it creates for so many of these players that may not be playing at that level moving forward, but get to do that and talk about it for generations to come.
So many of them won't be able to, but there will be the select few, and they'll remember this for the rest of their lives.
Just being in these premier college football environments. Ball on the ground, but it looked to be scooped up by one of those Tarboro Vikings. Perhaps Tyler Powell maybe getting back on that when all is said and done.
Sorry, JP. Second time the ball's been laid on the ground, and that's just pursuit. That's attacking the football. And, it's going to take a play like that. It's going to be something special to happen. Special for one team, unfortunate for the other, but an interception, a fumble recovery, a scoop and score, something like that. Because we've seen both these teams punt, and they probably had to punt a whole lot this year, but they have in this state championship.
Boy, the pursuit you just witnessed from Derek Dandy, appropriately named as the senior defensive lineman, gets in there to disrupt.
Yeah, 108 tackles on the season, 11 sacks. Talk about pursuit. It keeps the shoulder square, and that's a great technique, for all these young football players out there. He was attacked, he kept his shoulder square, kept leverage, and he was able to make the play. Top-notch play.
Tripping up the ball carrier to set up a 3rd down and 15. The 42-yard line. That's what Tarboro needs here on 3rd down. Swing this out behind the line of scrimmage, and losing his footing as he tried to cut inside is Cameron McDowell Moore. And 4th from behind the sticks, the next item in front of Coach Craddock and company.
Yeah, and I imagine this is kind of uncharted territory for both of these programs because they're undefeated and the point differential is in the 30s and the 40s. They hadn't been behind the sticks a whole lot. I can only imagine that. They've always been on schedule, but right now they're faced with a 4th and 12, and they're having a punt again, which probably, I don't know the stats, but I'm sure they hadn't had too many punts in the game before.
Is kicked away. And waving as if he was going to fair catch the football, but then letting this roll, and it hops back toward that Tar Heel logo. And Mount Airy will start from up near midfield. When you return to Chapel Hill on the other side of the break. Halftime nearly upon us. You want to stick around for the Honda Dealers of the Carolinas halftime report. Personalities from the North Carolina High School Athletic Association. First half highlights, stats, all that and more And a reminder to see your local Honda dealer of the Carolinas today. Happy Honda Days ongoing. Well, you and I kind of looking at one another in the break. 5 total first downs between these two teams. The yardage sitting at 64 yards on one side, 55 on the other. And oh, by the way, we're inside 3 minutes now remaining in the half.
Right. Don't blink. It's going to go quick. And I got a distinct feeling that Tyler Mason, he's going to break one. I mean, this kid he's poking and prodding, and he's almost there. That line is. Did a ball pop out, JP?
Maybe loose. You heard the reaction from the fans and saw everybody swarming to the football. But in the end, it is Tyler Mason coming out of there with the rock in hand. So it stays with Mount Airy.
Yeah, and that's what it's going to take. You're taught as a defender, especially now more than ever, punch at the ball, kind of try and rip it out. And as they get in these piles and still fighting for yards, the first defender's going to grab them. The next one's going to come in and try and rip that ball out. We've seen the ball hit the turf a couple of times today already.
Now here's a third down. Mount Airy will not line up to kick it again as they're able to secure the first down. How about this rush by Ian Gallimore on the keeper? You can move the chains. That's a Hardy's first down.
Yeah, it looks like, he faked it to Mason. Of course, he's going to attract a lot of attention. And it was just a cue keeper up there for the first down. So it was a great run by Gallimore there.
First down, the Hardy's first down coming your way from the 40-yard line of the Tarboro Vikings. Now going for the lower body of Tyler Mason, but he's a little tougher than that to bring down, and he will not be stopped until the chains move one more time. Here's a Hardy's first down run. And you're reminded when you see him on the move again, Tyler Mason that is, that we will have a player of the game selection, something he's familiar with from a year ago. Tatum and Atkinson, player of the game, will be selected before this noon championship game comes to fruition. Another dose of Tyler Mason. And flags come in as he tried to cut back toward the hash at the 22-yard line. They'll have to sort this out with 1:15 to play in the half.
Yeah, I think that's going to be holding on one of the receivers there. It's so hard because as you're blocking as a receiver, you don't know what's going on behind you, and then all of a sudden the back comes running out, and your defender can see him, and he skirts out, and you kind of hold on and grab a little bit. But we'll see if that is the call, but I have a stinging suspicion that it is going to be holding out there on the offense.
Holding on the offense. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Replay first down.
Backing the Granite Bears up on this sequence.
Yeah, getting them off schedule, and they all saw it at the same time as the flags come in. And once again, it's hard for a receiver because you just have the defender in front of you, and the defender can see what's going on. And as he tries to release, sometimes you just kind of get a little extra cloth in there. But they're behind schedule again at 1st and 20.
Well, a reverse coming inside the 25 to the 20 and all the way past the marker, as this is going to be marked at the 17-yard line. Now we will also select, before the day is done, the Carolina Carport play of the game. Quality the first priority. That's Carolina Carport. This certainly would fall in the category of candidates for that. One of the well-designed plays you've seen from either side thus far today.
Yeah, well-designed. Is coming off the same action. It's looking like you're going to run option or speed to that side and just hit the reverse coming back around, a little misdirection. That's what it's going to take to keep these defenses offset.
Right. It has been Tarboro since the 39-yard field goal out front for the majority of this half. But it is the Granite Bears of Mount Airy threatening now with 36 seconds to play. 36 seconds to play. That sounds familiar, does it not? If you weren't with us last night, congratulations are in order. The Hickory Red Tornadoes, with that much time remaining in the football game, able to get the quarterback keeper, cross the goal line, and take home the state championship against a highly regarded 71st squad. That's the first of the championships that will be handed out this weekend in the state of North Carolina. We're happy to have you with us here for the 1A clash the second. 2 more coming your way from Carter Finley in Raleigh a little bit later today, available to you all across the state on the Sinclair family of networks. Check your local listings for a 3 p.m. start between Reidsville and Clinton, and a 7 p.m. kick between Weddington and Hoggard. Those will complete the state championship environment this weekend. But again, congratulations in order to a Hickory team that took this much time for a spin last night in a thrilling finish in the 3A title game.
Yeah, it was a great game and well played by both defenses. And like we're seeing, another defensive battle right here. Now, Mount Airy has 2 timeouts left, and so we're going to see if they're going to take a shot, right? Because they still have those 2 timeouts to see if they can get it in.
Well, it's going to be taken down the right side and near the marker again. You talk about quarterback keepers making a difference late in football games, late in football halves. Here's Ian Gallimore, and he is going to set up a 1st and goal from the 6 on this run.
Yeah, and so you see Mason, he's going to get all the attention, right? And then coming around on the edge, you have Caleb Reed there.
Who else?
Yep.
You're right. Pitch it to Caleb Reed. This is going to be stacked up in the middle right on that right hash. Remember about Reed that he rushed for 43 yards on just 9 carries, en route to being named the most outstanding offensive player in last year's championship game. So you saw a good bit of that. Here's a snapshot of what he can provide as he sets Mount Airy on the doorstep. But Eric, time short with just 13 seconds to play in the half.
Yeah, 13 seconds. They still have 1 timeout. So you're going to try and take a shot. I mean, and a shot is what? Give the ball to Mason, right?
That's a shot.
That's a shot, right? Going to give the ball to Mason. Probably going to run that power again or some kind of play action off of that. And keep in mind, when you get your linebackers focusing so much on that flow of that backside guard tackle pulling and looking to neutralize that threat in the middle, it opens up those zones right behind you. So I wouldn't be surprised, get like a little slip screen or something like that, or just down the hash.
Ian Gallimore and company in huddle, but you saw right off of his right shoulder was Caleb Reed, one of the many tremendous two-way players on display in this football game. And here they come to the line. 2nd and goal from the 3-yard line, with 13 seconds remaining in the half and the lead up for grabs, headed to the locker room. Gallimore gives off as you expected to Tyler Mason, but Tarboro was waiting.
Yeah, great defensive play right there. Just staying disciplined, not giving any sort of ground, reading the keys.
That's the luxury of having the timeouts. You can take a chance like that. Timeout taken after this run. Tyler Powell able to get in there. He wasn't alone. McDowell Moore in there as well, and a host of Vikings to push the ball carrier back.
Yeah, just creating havoc. That's what you're going to penetrate through that line of scrimmage, keep your shoulder square, and hit the next thing that's not in the same color jersey that you have and create that havoc.
Now 3rd and goal from the 4-yard line with 6 seconds to play. What's at your disposal here?
And you're out of timeouts.
Yes.
Right? So it's going to be impossible to stop the clock if you don't get in with a run. So maybe look to, take a shot, kind of over the top. I noticed down here, on the sideline closest to us, they were playing man coverage, but it was like a loose man, almost like they didn't respect it. I was like, they're not going to throw it out here. They're going to give it to the big fella up the middle. So we'll see if they take a shot, because with the pass incomplete, it stops the clock. You score. Obviously, you get a kick extra point.
1 pass attempted thus far in the state championship game by this Granite Bears squad from Mount Airy. Just 4 total between the 2 teams having been attempted in this first half. And our officials rushing in to make sure Tarboro is awarded the timeout as the Vikings want to talk over what they just witnessed once the teams lined up.
That's right, the gamesmanship. This is chess, not checkers, right? And so they're looking to see what everybody's doing, and they give it an opportunity. All right, this is the set you come out in, timeout. Let's make sure we have the right personnel in there for it.
What did you see if you were looking at it through the eyes of Jeff Craddock with the formation that Mount Airy showed on that play?
I saw man coverage, and I saw, one-on-one receiver up top. You can throw a flag route. You can throw an out. It's going to get you to the sideline. Once again, if he catches, it's a touchdown. If he drops it or it's incomplete, you still possibly have 1 or 2 seconds on the clock left, but it's got to be quick in order to be able to kick that field goal so you can knot it up before halftime.
First half that was defense dominant until recent moments. Mount Airy now up over 100 total yards at 124, but all of it on the ground to this point, all 124 yards for the Granite Bears. If they decide to go back to the ground, just one play there with 6 seconds. As we have been discussing, you got a chance maybe for a couple if you throw a quick one into the end zone. We'll see what the Granite Bears opt to do on 3rd and goal. The lead at the half hanging in the balance. Here's a quick pass. It is in and out of the hands of his intended target, Mario Rebels.
Oh, wow.
The double pump there quickly. Most important, time is preserved at 2 seconds remaining, but this was almost the lead for the Granite Bears.
Yeah, play action. Rebels had him beat. And, you see, we call it eye candy, but you see number 25 comes out of the backfield. Let me see, we had Kayla Reed to occupy the vision of that cornerback. So he comes up, and it opens up Rebels right behind him. He just missed the pass.
One play now on 4th and goal, whatever you decide. Field goal is the decision, it would seem. Here's a 21-yarder, and it is no good. So a couple of field goal attempts. Tarboro connecting on theirs for 39 yards. Mount Airy's missed on the closing play of the half from closer distance-wise, and it'll stay 3-0 Vikings at the break.
Championship football, round 3, JP. Here we go. It's been a heavyweight bout of the defenses.
Your takeaways from the first half while we await the thoughts of Tarboro head coach Jeff Craddock, who will carry the lead into the intermission. What will be your memories from the first half?
Yeah, you got to get into a flow. I mean, defense wins championships, and we're seeing that from both sides. Both teams are having a punt. Probably had to do that a whole lot this year, but they're using every aspect of right now. That third phase, special teams, is proven to be pivotal.
3-0 in round 3. That was the operative number coming into the day, right? These two teams splitting their 2 recent state championship head-to-head clashes. And in the 3rd edition and the rematch from a year ago, it is Tarboro with the 3-0 lead. And going to be interesting to see what we hear from head coach Jeff Craddock, who is now standing by with Evan.
Coach, your defense holds Mount Airy to a field goal attempt and goes ahead at halftime. Your thoughts on that defensive performance?
Defensive performance was stout. They're really, really good. Number 5, the Masons snuck through there on us a couple times. Got us on a little reverse. We got out of position. But if you'd have told me that we were going to have a shutout at halftime, absolutely, I'd take it.
This is a low-scoring rematch of the state final. What's the biggest difference in the second half?
The biggest difference is we got to do a better job on the offensive line of scrimmage. I mean, we're not generating anything. I mean, we can't continue to put our defense out there in those tough spots because sooner or later they're good enough that they're going to break through. So we got to find a way to sustain some drives, quit giving their offense so many opportunities.
You noted in last year's state championship game the lack of execution on special teams. How vital has that been in this game?
Well, Oscar's been fantastic. And I thought going to the game last year, I thought they had an advantage. I thought this year I thought was at least even. They have great special teams too, and we hit the field goal. We've had some really good punts changing the field and those type of things. So special teams has been good.
Thank you for the time, Jeff.
Thank you. Love you, Ronnie.
That's Coach Jeff Craddock, a happy man right now with his team up 3-0 as we gear up for the Carolina Honda halftime report. We'll be back. Tarboro and Mount Airy in a battle through 24 minutes.
Hey everybody, this is Friday Night Rivals. I'm Nelson Weston, and like all of y'all, I'm ready for some good old-fashioned state championship high school football, baby. And who better to join us than our good friend from Ingalls Markets, Melissa Level. Melissa, are you excited about the game?
I'm excited about the game. What a great season it's been for both of the teams, and we're going to find out who the best of the best is.
Indeed we are. Now, speaking of our high school championships, can you share with us the significance of Ingalls supporting high school athletics?
Well, supporting high school athletics is part of an overall plan of supporting high school education, or education in general. Children are our future, they're our culture. We're looking forward to following them through that journey. So athletics is just a very big part of our community. People love high school football, and they love our kids. So good place for Ingles to be.
Absolutely. And speaking of Ingles, you and I both know that Ingles is undoubtedly the place you want to shop for all your delicious, mouth-watering tailgating specials.
Absolutely.
What all can we expect in these specials? What kind of food are we talking about?
We can keep it simple. You can go right to the wing bar and pick up a set of wonderful wings, all sorts of different flavors, a great big salad. Or you can go to the deli and get a wonderful fresh-made sub with boar's head meat. Or you can just get a little creative, go back and get the best meat of town, grill up a steak, get yourself a salad from the fresh produce in the deli, and a little bit of a baked potato on the side.
A steak and a salad and a baked potato on the side. That would definitely hit the spot right about now.
Yeah, definitely, wouldn't it?
Absolutely.
I'll see you there.
Of course. You and I both know that when it comes to the Tools for Schools program, it is very impactful in the community. For those who may be unfamiliar, can you share with us an overview of Tools for Schools? And more importantly, can you also share with us how does somebody get involved with it?
Tools for School is a partnership between Ingles, our customers, and our school community. It's through the Ingles Advantage Card. Every time you shop at Ingles and use your Ingles Advantage Card, if you register with the school of your choice, you are going to be donating to that school. Teachers then can buy supplies, big or small, all the way down from pencils all the way up to air conditioning systems, band uniforms, all sorts of wonderful things. It keeps the teachers' money in their own pocket and allows them to stock the school supplies with what they need.
That's terrific. Melissa, keep up the great work.
Thank you.
All right.
Let's get her done.
Let's get her done indeed. Folks, this is Friday Night Rivals. And now, time for some championship football. Let's get it.
Welcome to the Honda Dealers of the Carolinas Halftime Report. Find the perfect Honda for you during the Happy Honda Days. See your local Honda Dealers of the Carolinas today.
Commissioner Tucker, we appreciate your time.
Thank you very much for having me.
This year's seniors came into the program in 2020 when COVID started. How special does it make this year's state championship games given the uncertain start?
This certainly is a moment that they can really cherish because they started with uncertainty. Maybe they made it to that playoff, that shortened playoff season we had. Maybe they made it to that championship. But then the idea that if we continue to be a part of this program, maybe we'll get back to what is normal and we'll be able to start in August and we'll be able to get back to a state championship that is held in December. And so for some of these young people, that is actually what's happening. And so there's a sense of accomplishment, I think.
There are plenty of familiar teams in this year's championship games. What do you think makes these programs successful year in and year out?
Some of them have little league programs where their coaches are involved. Maybe they're not coaching those teams, but they have an opportunity to talk to those little people. It filters on upward into a middle school and then a junior varsity program. And if those programs are successful, then ultimately your varsity program is going to be successful. And I think that's why we in a junior varsity program, and those programs are successful, then ultimately your varsity program is going to be successful. And I think that's why we see a lot of these teams showing up year after year after year playing in this final game.
What has been the biggest challenge for the association in the last year?
Well, I think there's several things. One is just the ongoing concern we have as it relates to officiating. We certainly are encouraged that we're getting new folk to go through the process, get some training, and then get out on the court, on the field, whatever the case may be. I think the other challenge that we have continued to deal with is just behavior. We took up the initiative that the National Federation put forth a year or so ago, and that is bench bad behavior. And of course, everyone knows that we have continued to deal with the legislative involvement in our association. We'll continue to try to make sure that we're providing memories that match these moments that our young people are experiencing, and that we are providing the leadership and governance for our schools that they want.
What are you most proud of accomplishing as an association in the past year?
I'm just proud of the membership. I'm proud of what they do on a daily basis and how they continue to lead and guide our young people.
Thank you for your leadership, Commissioner Tucker, and we appreciate your time.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the opportunity to talk about the NCHSAA and education-based athletics. So thank you for what you do to provide that platform for us.
Thank you for joining us, and we appreciate your time.
Yes, thank you.
How can someone find help if they're in crisis and need more support?
In North Carolina, we have a fantastic resource. It's 988. You can call, chat, or text 988 and talk to crisis counselors 24/7. It's anonymous. They can get you help right away or tell you about other resources in the community.
What happens when someone reaches out to the Lifeline?
So they will walk you through a series of questions just to make sure you're safe, and that they'll talk to you as long or as much as you need. We have a diverse range of crisis counselors that answer our phone. We've got special lines if you're Spanish speaking. If you identify as LGBTQ+, we have our Trevor line. We have a veterans line. We have text and chat features. We want to make sure that our line is accessible and inclusive for everyone that wants to call and wants help.
Are there any final thoughts that you'd like to add?
To talk and say, hey, I noticed you're not yourself lately and I care. It's important to recognize those signs, to talk about them out loud, and to ask. People worry that if they ask, somehow it will precipitate a mental health crisis, or it might even encourage someone to harm themselves. That's absolutely not true. We should check on each other. We care about each other. So acknowledge when you see things wrong. If you don't know how to talk, call 988. If you're a parent, if you're a friend and you don't know how to talk to your loved one, call 988 and they can give you some pointers about how to have those kind of conversations.
Welcome to the Honda Dealers of the Carolinas Halftime Report. Find the perfect Honda for you during the Happy Honda Days. See your local Honda Dealers of the Carolinas today.
Look back at, we're talking, we're not hearing ourselves. So we are talking. All right, Eric, you take a look at the halftime stats. What jumps off the page at you statistically?
Well, when I look at it, passing, right? Tarboro has three attempts, total yardage. Mount Airy is winning that battle, but they're losing the main battle on the scoreboard, right? What we don't see here are punts. Tarboro has 3 punts. They had 7 punts all year. Mount Airy has 2. Yeah. And so, that's kind of.
The numbers speak for themselves.
The numbers speak for themselves,
Let's check in field side, get the thoughts coming out of the other locker room. Evan, take it away.
Coach Atkins, your offense held scoreless in the first half. How do you execute better in that second half?
We are 1 or 2 players away. Tarboro is an excellent defense, so if you get a guy that doesn't execute or misses a backer or is in the wrong position on a backer, they'll expose you. We are also accustomed to big plays, and right now we're not producing big plays. We got to settle in and be okay with the hard 3-4 yard runs and moving the chains, and we're going to have to grind it out, I think, today in order to score. So we're going to be fine. We made a few little adjustments here. I think we're going to be fine. We're real close. We just got to keep swinging the axe, and I think we'll be all right.
Good luck in the second half.
All right, thank you.
That's Coach J.K. Atkins. Guys, back up to you.
Well, we certainly appreciate the time of both coaches, Coach Atkins and Coach Craddock, as they visited with us going into the locker room and coming out of it. You saw the numbers a moment ago. Here are the pictures that back it up. First half highlights.
Yeah, right off the bat, there was almost a mishap there with that, with the fumbling of the the kickoff. And we see it's the tale of 2 defenses here. They're stingy defenses. They're not giving you anything up the middle, not giving you anything on the edge. And I love seeing the big fellas get active and they get excited.
Tarboro T, how about Tarboro D on these occasions? They weren't the only ones, Eric.
That's exactly right, because here you have the only points of the game, that field goal. Who knew, right? But in the defensive struggle, it'd be like that. And you have Mason there on that little end around. Sorry, correction, that's not Mason. That was Revels. He's got lightning in his veins.
Then he had this opportunity in the end zone, not quite to be, and the field goal for Mount Airy at the end of the half. Opposite result, we stand at 3-0.
Yeah, those missed opportunities, they're going to have to capitalize. We heard Coach Atkins talking about they just have to make some big plays. There it is, and they were so close right there with Revels. He would normally catch that. Big lights, big time players make big time plays.
Third quarter coming up on the other side of the break. The difference in this one, the Oscar Perez Gaspar field goal of 39 yards to this point. It's 68 degrees on the second Saturday of December in Chapel Hill. Perfect weather. Perfect first half in many ways if you're a defensive person. Defensive dominant between these two as we have the Smithfield Chicken and Barbecue kickoff of the second half, and tripped up after a limited return. As you look at the celebration that ensues from Kip Biggs, among others, Tarboro and company, as Tyler Mason and his crew get set to take the field. Remember, the toss was won by Mount Airy. The Granite Bears deferred, and so they'll have the first crack at it here in our third quarter, trying to go back-to-back, do that for the first time in the history of the school, in the long and storied football history of the program, looking for back-to-back titles after a 20-7 victory over this very Tarboro team a season ago in a game played in Raleigh. Things going Tarboro's way thus far here in Chapel Hill to the tune of a 39-yard field goal. That's the difference. But you know who would like to change that? Reigning most outstanding player from the championship environment, Tyler Mason, who goes back to work here.
Yeah, he's making his presence felt. You know, on that he finished that run leaning forward with the forearm into the chest. Looks like of Clark there, number 4 of the defenders. He came up to try and tackle him and run him out of bounds. But you got to think that Mount Airy's going to, you know, take a couple of shots here and there, JP. They've only thrown the ball a handful of times, but they're going to have to get something going.
Well, if you want a couple of surprising numbers, as they obviously keep it on the ground here, Tarboro threw 27 passes this season. You heard us right. This season, that Tarboro T, you know all about it. 70-plus passes, 74 of them from Mount Airy all season long. These two teams, just a couple of passes on the Mount Airy side, just a trio of passes, and 3 total yards between them through the air in that first half of action. So it may be in a big moment that you see that, but it's certainly going to be limited. These are two teams, dominant rushing attacks, and they're going to stay with what brung them here. And he certainly did. Tyler Mason up across the 40. That's a first down. And you can move the chains with our initial NC 529 first down of the third quarter, as it's never too late or too early to start saving for education with NC 529. Latest of the carries for Mason here.
Yeah, and we see again, it's just that good old-fashioned power. You know, you block down on one side, you cave them in, and you pull that guard and tackle around on the backside to outnumber them at the point of contact.
Going to toss this, and flags come in as up near the 50 the collisions take place, but much to sort out on the penalty here.
Yeah, it looks like it may be holding. That's using that area that you see those flags drop.
Well, so far for Tyler Mason, who we've referenced, 14 touches, 66 yards. That performance a year ago, 23 touches, 139.
Holding. Offense. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Replay first.
There's the holding call to back them up. You expect he will factor in very nicely if this team is to go back-to-back for a little more on the key back in the Mount Airy stable. Let's check in with Evan.
Tyler Mason's described with an innate desire to be the best. So every week he pushes himself to do something better. 1 week it's receptions, 1 week it's rushing. This week for Mason, he noted yards after contact. He wants to excel in that category to help his team in the backfield.
On cue, football given his direction one more time. Dancing out of trouble up to the 45-yard line. Going to be actually spotted out of bounds at the 46. So that'll get much of what is needed back after Mount Airy was behind the sticks. On cue, there is the standout performer for the Granite Bears.
Yeah, getting back on schedule. And this is just a little inside trap there, and he bounces it outside and just uses his athleticism that we're going to see on Saturday afternoons, in the very near future for this young man. Great run, and those yak yards you talk about, Evan, yards after contact, yeah. He's definitely one of those kids that you want the ball in his hands.
Well, look who's loose down the far sideline. They end up going Caleb Reed's direction one more time. They were quite a 1-2 punch on the ground in that previous championship game, looking to be that again. Here is the latest of the carries for 2-5.
Yeah, Reed is saying, don't forget about me. Once again, Mason is going to draw a lot of the attention. So where he goes, I'm sure there's a linebacker that's spying him, and the coach is saying wherever he goes, you go, and it frees it up for young Caleb there.
If you're wondering about it, 2 touches for Reed. We mentioned the 14 for Mason. Rebels has carried the ball a couple of times. 4 times each that Gallimore has tucked it and that Martin has touched the football. That's how the carries have been distributed to this point for Mount Airy. And right in the thick of it one more time is Caleb Reed. His third carry of the day, his second on this drive. And we dip inside 10 minutes remaining in the third quarter. Haven't had a chance to really talk adjustments just yet, Eric, but what were your points of emphasis in terms of adjustments for these teams at the halftime break?
Well, obviously defensively, just keep doing what you're doing.
You got that right.
But offensively, I think, Mount Airy is going to have to take some chances here. You see they have stacked receivers down here, probably just to keep them out. But here we go. We're taking a shot.
Yeah, more than just window dressing, as they do try to toss it in the direction of Mario Revels. He was looking for a flag. None came. It's simply an incomplete pass. And it's going to be 3rd and 6.
Yeah, it's just, you're going to try and run one off. And the ball's a pretty good ball, a little behind them there. But Tarboro does a good job of recovering and just keeping everything in front of them. And, on the flip side, on Tarboro's side, like Coach Craddock was saying, offensively up front, they've got to dominate a little bit more to insert their will and impress their will on that defensive line of Mount Airy, see if they can get something going.
With that toss, now 3 passes each on both sides in this 3-0 third meeting in the state championship environment between these teams. That pops loose as McDowell Moore upended the Granite Bears, and here is another snapshot of just how effective Cameron McDowell Moore is on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, that's that Iron Man football, and I think he's going to be ruled. Oh, couldn't really tell. I'm not sure if he was down, if the ground caused it, but in any case, it's 4th down. But great pursuit by that defense, and that's what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to continue to relentlessly pursue the football.
Yeah, Cameron McDowell Moore, we've said more than once, making his presence known in the state championship environment. As a result, Clark back to return this for Tarboro, kicked away with a true hop at the 10-yard line, and another of the punts. That's a point of conversation as well. We'll have it when you return to Chapel Hill. This one into the end zone. It'll be a touchback, and the ball swinging over on the other side. 3 separating them in the 23 state championship game at Chapel Hill. After the latest punt, Tarboro takes over. You just saw Mount Airy punt for the 2nd time. Granite Bears punted only 12 times this season. Tarboro punted 7 times all year. They have punted 3 times in this state championship football game. Maybe that statistic more than any other speaking to just how effective the defenses have been in this state championship environment, forcing the other team to do something that has been a rarity throughout the course of the year.
Yeah, you don't even think about it. They're scoring, they're grinding, they're moving the football, they're putting up 50 and 40 and 60 and 77 points throughout the course of the year. And so here we're now in the state championship where you have 2 stingy, stout defenses that are refusing to give up an inch. And yeah, they're going to have to rub the punters down. They might start cramping over there.
Yeah, good defensive front again on display for Mount Airy. Very little down the line on this 3rd down effort. Yep, plenty of love needs to be given to the combo of Walker Strop, also Oscar Perez Gaspar. And remember, he has the 39-yard field goal.
That's right.
Gaspar, that stands as the difference in the ball game from that first half. About DJ Joyce, the sophomore, in the thick of it one more time. And here it is, that 3 on the down marker and the 30-yard line needed for Tarboro. This would mean solid field position for Mount Airy if the Granite Bears can get off the field here. Easier said than done, as winding toward the 1st down marker is Cam McDowell Moore. It's going to be about 1.5 yards shy, and 4th down is coming.
Something, maybe a little adjustment that, was made by Mount Airy there is I noticed the defensive line, they're maybe about 0.5 yard back off that offensive line. It gives them an opportunity to see kind of all the crossing and see what's going on with your offensive linemen so they can then attack the proper, where the pressure's coming from. So that may be an interesting wrinkle that Mount Airy made at halftime.
And enough of a gain from McDowell Moore that the offense does stay out there in 4th and short.
Oh, he's not going to get it. That was a fullback trap.
No push from the offensive line. You know, that was the point of emphasis for Coach Jeff Craddock as he was going off and visited with Evan. He said, we have got to be more solid on the line of scrimmage offensively. Well, it's been that defensive dominance, and his reaction tells the tale. How about that play, Evan?
So third Floyd, the anchor of this defense, 71. He is a unit down there, 350 pounds listed. And Coach Atkins noted he's the most agile 350-plus lineman he's ever worked with. As a freshman, he barely played, but now in year 2, he's learned to move left and right. He's used his hands much better, and what a force in the middle of that defense.
And the middle of that defense making the difference here. A turnover on downs, fourth down roll of the dice for Tarboro was not to be. It is outstanding field position for the Granite Bears. And a big-time push from that line once more. Remember, so many familiar faces on this line that you see on the defensive line because we got Iron Man football on display today.
That's right. They're just flip-flopping. And keep in mind, on both of these teams, there are 6 players that start both ways, offense and defense. It may start to take a toll, but listen, they've been doing it all year, JP, and so the conditioning is up. And, you know, when you have a defense that's really stout and big in the middle, you want to try and outrun them. If they're fast, you want to try and attack them. Well, what happens when they're both? And we're seeing that with these defenses right now.
As Rebels goes in motion.
5-yard penalty. Second down.
A penalty flag is dropped for a false start. Let's give the offensive line a little bit of praise as well. Spencer Baldwin, Landon Cox, J.D. Harper, Jordan Hill, Anderson DeVore. That group trying to make space. As you see a number of them filling up your screen, there is Landon Cox trying to make space for the Mount Airy rushing attack. Field goal missed at the end of the half. Mount Airy's best scoring threat after touchdown pass was in and out of the hands of Mario Rebels. This time trying to cap the drive in the third quarter with points. And here's Caleb Reed's contribution to that end.
Yeah, the 1-2 punch, you know, being this is a heavyweight fight, running that power once again, JP. And I'm going to tell you something. When the linebackers see number 5 fly out of there, they're flying as well because they know that he's a talent, and it opens up those lanes there for Reed.
This NC 529 first down sets up the red zone opportunity. Talk it out, NC red zone. Start the conversation. Stop underage drinking. That's the message from Talk It Out NC. What will the Granite Bears do with this red zone chance? A loaded backfield. And whistles followed by flags before the first down play. Could be another false start.
False start. Offense. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Reigning champs looking for a little rhythm on this drive.
Yeah, and that's what it's going to take. Getting into the rhythm, getting in the flow, doing what you do well, you know, imposing yourself, your will on that defensive front. Because I'm telling you something, both of these, I can't say it enough. Of course, I love playing on the defensive side of the ball, man, and defense, we're getting a clinic on both sides from these teams today.
What'd you tell me? The only thing you miss being back in this environment in Chapel Hill? Smell of the grass. Now that it's turf down there. Defensive guy loving it up here in the booth. And this time it's an offensive contribution from who else? Tyler Mason as he lunges down near the 10-yard line with a positive gain.
Yeah, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Just keep handing that fella the ball. Eventually, you're going to get tired of hitting that fella. He comes right downhill. They're running that power once again. And when you get those linemen that can climb up to that second level and get in the way of those linebackers and block them and shield them for a little bit, you get big gains like this.
Second down and short from just outside the 10. 4.5. That's what we're about to cross over remaining in the third quarter. And a little bit of trouble at the outset of this, and plenty of penetration from that Tarboro defensive front. Very little there. Third down coming.
Yeah. You know, just getting that penetration, and if you can get a step or a yard into that backfield, you can disrupt those guys that are pulling and you know, disrupt the timing. So much of this is on timing. And if you can disrupt that a little bit, it throws you off.
So third downs on which Mount Airy was 1 of 2 in that first half. Going to convert here for more than just a third down conversion. He carries it into the end zone, a Tyler Mason touchdown. It was something that happened on 3 separate occasions en route to that outstanding player honor a year ago, and he will be greeted after the Meg Brown Home Furnishings TD that puts Mount Airy out front for the first time today.
Yeah, rarity. We got a touchdown. It's just a speed option, and they were reading that in, but he was getting blocked, and so he went in untouched. Great play design. And an offense like this, the receivers have to be able to block. They're able to do that without holding the defender, so great job, great play call by the Granite Bears.
Obviously a nod to the fact that he rushed for all 3 touchdowns in the championship win of the 20-7 variety a season ago, and he has the first score touchdown-wise on either side. Touchdown Tyler Mason, Mount Airy out front. Well, the 21st carry of this one for Tyler Mason, the difference maker. He's got 128 yards and the touchdown that has put Mount Airy out front 7-3. Obviously a candidate once again as the Tatum and Atkinson player of the game. We'll select that here in just a bit. Also coming up in the fourth quarter before the conclusion of this one, we will have the Carolina Carport play of the game as well. Carolina Carport quality is our first priority. And the Carolina Carport play of the game. Will that be it? Only touchdown thus far. And again, the numbers for Mason, 21 carries, 128 yards. In the last 2 years, all 4 touchdowns for this Granite Bears squad.
There you go. Time will tell. Those, they do what they do well. And, if it's not broken, don't fix it.
High and end over end. Plenty of room up the sideline, but they're going to say that Isaiah Jones stepped out of bounds at around the 37, and that is where Tarboro will take over. Okay, new scenario for Tarboro here, Eric, as they send the offense back out onto the field, trailing all of the sudden in this contest. You do see where Jones stepped out of bounds, and that's the reason this drive will start. Actually going to go back now and mark this, it looks like at the 34-yard line.
Yeah, that was
but different scenario here.
It is. This offense, it's not panic time yet, but it's only 3 minutes and 43 seconds. This offense, the clock doesn't stop, right? They can keep grinding it away. They hadn't had any chunk plays yet, JP, and that's, from a fan's perspective, that's a little concerning, right? It's like, hey, we got to get something going. They don't throw it efficiently or effectively, and so it's like, what can you pull out of your playbook right now to get something moving down the field? 64
total yards for the Tarboro T to this point, and 61 of those on the ground. Goes right back into the hands of Mason Satterfield. We came into this game talking about a trio of 1,000-yard rushers, and they have been limited by this Mount Airy defense today.
Yeah, they averaged over 300 yards rushing per game, right? And that's about 100 per running back. But they hadn't proven that they can move the ball yet, especially up the middle with those big run stoppers in the middle, and then you can't run east to west because the team's speed is so fast. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of wrinkles Coach Craddock throws in here.
Well, the ball bobbled around, juggled a bit in there, and it allows the defense to close quickly, including Ian Gallimore. Well, you've seen him at the quarterback position throughout. He's one of the Iron Man players today, and he finds himself, Evan, right in the thick of things one more time.
J.K. Atkins told us Ian is the most old-school throwback player he's ever seen. It's worth noting his mom, Abby's the AD. His dad's the middle school coach in town, and Ian wants to play both sides of the ball in college. But his vision and his ability to get off blocks is something this defense loves out of their middle linebacker, guys.
Well, one of his premier moments of the day on the defensive side, setting up a 3rd down and 12 here. 45-yard line. That's what Tarboro is looking for, and the explosive speed of McDowell Moore called upon. But after just a handful of yards, he's brought to a halt at the 38. And 4th down is coming. You'll see the reaction from this defense. Boy, feeding off one another right now. Landon Cox, one of those two-way players in the middle of it.
And they're flying around. Look at the flow. So what you want your big fellas up front to do is to occupy those blockers. And it frees up your linebackers to flow and smack the football right in the mouth, which is what that's been happening all day. But I love it because the big fellas up front, they're not going to get their name called a whole lot, but they are getting a lot of work done.
Exactly what Ian Gallimore and his teammates were able to do there. This is, again, worth underscoring. The 4th punt of the day for a team that handled those responsibilities just 7 times across the course of the season to this juncture. It'll be out of bounds inside the 15. So here's a chance for the defense, perhaps, for Tarboro to make its mark if they can slow Mount Airy, because they have the Granite Bears backed up deep in their own territory.
Yeah, what they're going to have to do, once again, from a defensive perspective, the first man's going to have to get there, grab him, hold him, make sure you got him. The next one coming in is going to have to punch the ball out, try and rip it out to get a turnover deep in their own territory.
You're still looking for that turnover that can be the difference maker in the game. And we've seen the almost moments happen more than once where the ball is popped out. But to this juncture, possessing team has been able to hang on to it. At least up until now. Inside 90 seconds remaining in the 3rd quarter, and flags before the first down play for Mount Airy.
Prior to the snap, start, offense, 5-yard penalty.
A little closer to the shadow of that goal line for the Granite Bears now. So Tarboro has them behind the sticks after the Mount Airy miscue on the false start. Going to be 1st and 15.
Yeah, and they're giving them a little different look. You know, they're starting out one set and motioning to another, just to give you some eye candy, right? Just to give you something else to think about. Chances are number 5 is getting the football, though.
Going to be hit pretty quickly. Spun around. Forward progress is going to be granted up near the 5-yard line. Now, coming out of there with the football and trying to sell it to the best of his ability is Cole Craddock, and why not? Coach's son giving his best effort, but that was ruled forward progress to the 5 almost immediately.
Yeah, and here we go once again, staying true, keeping your shoulder square. See how he grabs him, and the next man's coming in and punching it out. Number 15, I think, punched it out, but forward progress had stopped. Right, we don't have instant replay in high school, so away we go. We'll line up, play behind the chains with 2nd and long.
Whistles came, the determinations were made there, even if Tarboro put a valiant effort together to try for the takeaway. Stays with Mount Airy. Certainly Vikings fans letting their thoughts about that be known after they saw it on the video board. But up across the 10 to the 11-yard line on this carry, and 3rd down coming. May ease the pain just a bit if they can come away with a 3rd down stop here. But suffice it to say, the crew making the trip to Chapel Hill from the east, believing they had their decisive defensive moment.
Yeah, and it's tough. Like I said, we don't have instant replay in high school, and of course, sitting from the stands, you see everything, and everything is correct. So it's important that here we go to the end of the 3rd. Here we
saw
go.
the official marking it right away, though, as soon as they started driving him back toward the end zone. 3 in the books in the 3rd recent state championship meeting between these two. Still inside a score as we head to the 4th. We welcome you back to Chapel Hill with our West Shore home stats through 3 quarters of action between these two budding rivals in the rematch. And how about the opening stanza of the 4th? All kind of room for Mario Rebels, and he will take it the distance to extend Mount Airy's lead. Looked like he was running out of fuel at the very end of that, Eric, but had enough to cross over for the touchdown. A Meg Brown Home Furnishings touchdown for Rebels and Mount Airy. Started to cramp up at the very end of that, but found a way to will himself on across the line for the touchdown.
Yeah, it's almost like we call it, when the monkey jumps on your back, it's almost like you're giving him a ride. But I'll tell you something, nice wrinkle. You get the flow, it looks like it was like an inside trap or a reverse zone or something like that, where you get the flow going one direction and you hit them with that counter coming back. We used to call it 21 trap or 21 counter, and it works every time because the flow, you have that eye candy. You see everybody And these are the things where you set up in the first quarter, in the first half, JP. You get the flow going, the defense gets some success, and then you hit them with that counter coming right back.
Boy, talk about drawing up the opening play of the final period to set the tone for the remainder. He's going to need a little help to work his way to the sideline. But Mario Rebels with the highlight play of the day, an 89-yard touchdown run. Mario Rebels, as we check in for a little more on this young man with Evan.
Think back to the first game of the season. Mario Rebels scored an 80-yard explosive touchdown, and J.K. Atkins noted his next-level burst is outstanding. Even on that run, to get to the perimeter and explode down the sideline. Now, the hammy may have cost him there at the end of the run, but his next-level speed is a difference maker, and Coach Atkins wants to get him the ball more to let Mario explode.
Well, and it speaks to the fact, Eric, thank you, Evan, that he was not caught, even though he had to pull up toward the end of things. Still had enough juice to work his way in. The extra point is true, and a 14-3 lead for a Mount Airy team trying to go back-to-back for the first time in program history. Here is the 89-yard rush for Mario Rebels.
Yeah, it's just that counter play, JP. And who are they following? Tyler Mason. They see him go out for like a speed option, and he's going just boop, right on the inside and hits with that counter, but you have all the flow going one side, and they hit him coming back. Great play by that young fella. And yeah, he's probably saw the limit about 15 yards out and still just kind of coasted in. So that's a lot of speed.
It's worth keeping in mind that happened right after Tarboro had come very close to forcing the turnover at the end of the third. Recovered perhaps in the end zone. Had they been able to punch it out a little quicker, had the forward progress not been awarded, that would have been a Tarboro touchdown.
Yeah.
They were just about to perhaps get off the field and force a punt with decent field position. It was at that moment that Mario Rebels broke loose on a tremendous play call from J.K. Atkins and his staff. Just like that, a little breathing room for Mount Airy as we prepare for the Smithfield's Chicken and Barbecue kickoff. Break away from every day with Smithfield's Chicken and Barbecue. That's a challenge. And after the breakaway speed that was on display from Mario Rebels, foot into it, we'll send it back over to Tarboro. Return coming for Isaiah Jones, and he's going to be wrestled down at around the 15-yard line. We'll see exactly where they spot this. But, Eric, it is go time now for the Vikings of Tarboro as momentum is squarely on that Mount Airy sideline.
Yeah, it has to be. You know, it's not panic time yet, but it's getting really, really close to it because of the type of offense that they run, and that clock continues to flow. They're going to have to put something together right here, right now, get a score on the board, see the ball cross the end zone. But time is of the essence right now for Tarboro.
221 rushing yards through three quarters and added almost 100 to it here to begin the fourth, did Mount Airy. And difficulty staying on his feet after the pass was completed to Caden Everett. And that's kind of a microcosm to some degree of what it's been like offensively for Tarboro.
Yeah, because you're forcing them to do something that they're not accustomed to do, which is throw the football. And interestingly enough, JP, they had that was open. I mean, he may not have scored on it, but that would have been one of those chunk plays that they really needed this time, because they got the flow going one way, and you stop, turn around, and dump it off in the flat there, but just couldn't keep his footing.
Mount Airy team that held this vaunted Tarboro offense to just the 7 points in the state championship game contested in Raleigh a year ago, having held them to just the early field goal to this point. The second time around in a row, and as Omar Lewis, the East Carolina commit, tries to find some open space somewhere, flags come in.
Holding. Offense. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Replay second down.
Well, the fans who made the trip down from one of America's great towns, Mount Airy. Of course, you always give the Mayberry reference when we've got the Granite Bears in effect. And a nice crowd. You heard them there on that call. You're hearing them more and more as we get deeper into this one with the way things are trending. But a very nice crowd for both schools, and Mount Airy well represented below us here.
Yeah, and I tell you something that may be coming into play right now is a little bit of fatigue. Keep in mind, this is Ironman football.
Yes.
6 players on each team, they don't come off the field, probably even on special teams, punt, field goal, and things like that. And it's taking a toll right now.
Yeah, can also get to you mentally as well. And driving him back into the end zone, this Mount Airy D. You saw the frustration bubble over. Now forward progress is going to be granted out to the 2. That's the same scenario awarded Lewis that we saw on the play earlier on the Mount Airy side of things, but this is just how tough it's been offensively.
Yeah, they're not accustomed to passing, JP. We saw that and we know it. And so you're forcing them to do something that they're not accustomed to. They're fatigued, they're tired, they're in a state championship, and they're getting a little bit frustrated, but playing right into Mount Airy's hands, and they're continuing to press the position from defensive.
Another state championship moment. DJ Joyce, Derek Dandy has been in the thick of things as well for this squad. 3rd down from feet in the end zone. This is going to be given off left side. Very little room there. And swarming to the football again, Mount Airy forcing a 4th down. How about 3-2, Evan?
So Derek Dandy broke his leg in the second drive of last year's state championship game. Now healthy, an intimate part of this team. And maybe the MVP of the program is his mom, Tracy Hogwood. She cooked a pregame meatloaf for the entire program. Tracy and dozens of members of the family came in attendance. And that has fueled the team not only defensively, but with some great grub. And there's the meatloaf queen herself, Tracy, who is a known staple in the Mount Airy community.
Well, it paid off. If they continue to make it a habit to get here year after year, as Mount Airy has done in the last couple, got to keep that a part of the tradition and a part of the routine. Another Tarboro punt, this from the end zone, and they'll walk this up to just beyond the 30-yard line. Great field position coming for a Mount Airy Granite Bears squad surging into the 4th quarter, looking to extend the lead. With 8:50 to play, Mount Airy taking back over at the 32-yard line. Boy, this defense, they have been stifling today. They have been stingy today, and they've set the stage for, as we said, a late offensive surge in this game, which Mount Airy is trying to make more than enough here, Eric. All of a sudden, with 8:40 to play and touches few and far between with the way both these teams run the football, this is a Granite Bears team with a mind toward putting this one on ice.
Yeah, and that, thanks to that defense, they are stifling. They have stifled, Tarboro. And I'm looking at the number 3 here. Tarboro has 3 first downs. They scored 3 points, 3 passes, 3 pass attempts, 3 fumbles, but none of them lost. That's something that's kind of special from this defense right now from Mount Airy.
Second down play up across the 25, inside it to the 24. 3rd down coming. As important as anything right now, clock just continuing to roll. And, the thing about it is, more points or not, Tarboro, the challenge for a 2nd straight year now, trying to figure something out offensively against this Mount Airy D. You said it, so many of them playing Ironman football going both ways, but they have been conditioned for it and no worse for the wear to this point.
Yeah, and they just can't get anything going on offense. I mean, they've been playing pretty good defense. Been playing good enough defense to win, but Mount Airy has been slowly ticking away, and they've thrown some wrinkles in with the reverse. Oh, and that's a big play there, by the defender. It looks like number 2 for Tarboro.
Well, you know who that is. Oh, yeah. Cameron McDowell Moore, and a little slow to get up was Tyler Mason. Remember, McDowell Moore was the leader offensively when you talk about getting something going offensively a year ago. He had 119 yards on 25 carries in the championship game and was the most outstanding offensive performer for Tarboro. He's made his presence known on both sides of the ball, but it has to be rolling through his mind that at some point things have to get jump-started for he and his teammates if and when they get the ball back here.
Yeah, that was a great defensive play by him. You know, he shed the receiver that was trying to block him, attacked him right, hit him right in his knee, it looked like, or his leg, and made a great tackle.
He was the offensive performer for Tarboro. Omar Lewis was the defensive performer for Tarboro. Got to take all the performers for Tarboro now. Mount Airy in control and with the football, 6.5 to play. Working our way back into action with 6:33 to play. Mount Airy up 14-3, facing a fourth down from just inside the 30-yard line. But old Mo, as you so often discuss, on the side of the guys wearing that trademark blue for Mount Airy, and Ian Gallimore, senior leader on both sides of the football, back out there clapping those hands as he's going to roll out a rare pass for Mount Airy, and it is executed well. We talked about a microcosm of how tough it's been at times on that last drive for Tarboro. Just that offensively for Mount Airy of late here. Who else? Mario Rebels, the target, and Ian Gallimore connects with him. Move the chains. Granite Bears first down.
Yeah, Coach Atkins said that he needed to get the ball into Rebels' hands a little bit more. But once again, you see, they're giving that play action fake right up the middle, to Mason. And just a little naked boot rollout, hits him, gets the first down, keeps the drive alive.
Just the second connection of that variety on the day. And it may serve as one of the key moments. You talk about a moment where the dagger is delivered, and certainly Mount Airy looking for that here. A fourth down, it looked like Tarboro was about to get the football back, and what does Mount Airy do? Show its ability to do good work through the skies as well.
Yeah, and they are on schedule. It's 2nd down and 1, and it's just about done. I mean, they are, you see the linemen out there, one of them's kind of like dancing and showing off. You can say, hey, Mom, look at me, and they're loose, they're playing, they're excited, and they can smell and taste victory because it's right there.
A lot of football left, but everything's certainly trending Mount Airy right now, and more points going to make it an even tougher hill for Tarboro to climb. Here's the pitch as Mason works through traffic. A flag is down, gives us a chance to check in with Evan.
Offensive line for the penalty there gives a first down. This offensive line's averaging 6 yards a rush in the second half. And the center, Landon Cox, he may be undersized, but J.K. Atkins has noted he's the most intelligent blocker he's ever seen on the offensive line. And this unit's ability, Eric can speak to this.
Awesome. All right, well, Eric, they worked their way with the sticks now removed inside the 5 to the 4-yard line as the Granite Bears look to put inside of 5 minutes now what Mount Airy fans would like to see perhaps as the exclamation point to an offensive explosion in many ways. You got to remember that both these teams stifled by the defenses the entirety of that first half. Just a field goal and a 3-0 Tarboro lead at the intermission. So everything you're seeing from Mount Airy since that time unanswered in the second half.
Yeah, and they have simply imposed their will on them. They're dominating the line of scrimmage. They're making those big chunk plays, and they're tackled for a huge loss there.
Here is the moment for that Tarboro defense as they do rise to the occasion. Force Tyler Mason back, among others Tyler Powell getting his name called. QB, defensive end, spend some time at the tight end spot. You see Clark there, as well as Josiah Dickens, a number of those trying to dig deep one more time, but 4 and change remaining. And still a few more cracks at it from Mount Airy from inside the 10.
Yeah, and you'd like to think that Mount Airy is going to take up all the time on that play clock and let that clock continue to run. As they run the ball, both game clock and play clock will continue.
finding a little bit of room is Mario Revels. He's down to the 5-yard line. Revels, trio of carries, up over 20 yards to his credit in this one. Tyler Mason obviously leading the way, 26 carries, 132 yards and the touchdown. Revels, after his third carry, joining Reed, who's touched the ball 8 times for over 50 yards. Martin, who carried it 4 times for 11 fairly early, and Gallimore, who's picked his spots on 5 different occasions to make a contribution with his legs, and had the pass of the day as well, and most recently a toss that set up this goal-to-go scenario, and ahead of the 3rd down play, timeout being called for with 2:59 to go. A lot of football left, but again, you got to love the spot that the Granite Bears are in right now, and Coach Craddock calling his team over as well, as time is running a little thin for Tarboro.
Yeah, I mean, he has 3 timeouts, and you want to start thinking clock management, but you first need to make a stop here on Mount Airy. Either, first man hold, next man come in and try and strip so you can get a scoop and score, and at least get the football back, because with just under 3 minutes to go, time is of the essence.
Well, take us inside the huddle right now as J.K. Atkins tries to will his team to take advantage of one more chance to create some separation for the final 3 minutes.
Yeah, he's letting them know, hey, fellas, this is 4-down territory. We have 2 more downs to get 5 yards, half and half, whatever it's going to be. But chances are you're going to give it to your bell pal, right? That's number 5 in Mason, and try and drive it down, because worst case scenario, if they don't get it, Tarboro's going to have to drive 90-something yards to try and score in 3 minutes.
And then do it all over again.
And do it again, that's right.
Here is the 3rd down and goal play. Gallimore to Tyler Mason, and he is down to the 4-yard line. 4th and goal coming, and more precious seconds rolling off that 4th quarter game clock.
Yeah. If you're Coach Craddock, you may want to start thinking about, maybe stopping that clock and make them run the play, because you will get the ball back if they don't score here. But once again, it's 6 one hand, half a dozen in the other. What do you do?
Yeah, you've got to have a score and a stop and something else on the backside of that. As you begin to see it sink in to some degree on the fans below. Should say before the day completely passes us by, boy, these communities represent themselves very well once more here on this Saturday afternoon in Chapel Hill. Much to be proud of on what have been championship seasons in the East and the West. And now the crew out of the West calling timeout with 2:11 left on the game clock.
Yeah, and I tell you something, JB. It's tough. If you're Mount Airy, you're thinking like, man, we are 2 minutes and 11 seconds away from a championship. If you're Tarboro, you're thinking, man, all this hard work, it's tough. But it is starting to sink in a little bit. You got to think about it. You're telling your kids right now, listen, you play hard, but play between the whistles. Make sure we keep our composure. First man hold, next man try and strip, get the ball back, because it's rinse and repeat if you can't do that.
Yeah, we talk about these two communities for a little more on a Mount Airy team trying to go back-to-back for the first time as champions in the sport of football, and the community at large and its love for athletics. Let's check in with Evan.
Mount Airy is an interesting sports town. Championships in golf, tennis, and now possibly back-to-back in football. And J.K. Atkins described this town like the city of Boston. You love the Celtics, you love the Patriots, you love the Bruins, and he said in Mount Airy, they're just crazy about sports in the Mount Airy town, and we believe this is one of the towns in North Carolina, so he wanted to show it with his team's performance today.
Probably the only time you've ever heard Mayberry compared to Boston, right? But in the sense of their love for sports, Evan is exactly right. 4th down play, backing up, tossing this into the sky, and a rainbow that falls right into the hands of Blake Hawks for the touchdown. How about the senior reeling this in as the exclamation point moment for the Mount Airy Granite Bears?
What a time to throw in a wrinkle. Once again, you get flow going one side. Everybody's flowing to the left. You think you got them, and then a little leaking out on the throwback to the backside. And there you have Gallimore saying, there you go. Good job. Way to hold on to it. Outstanding.
Again, they turn to the senior, give him a moment. Why not a first at the end of the state championship environment for Hawks?
And he may keep that ball. He may sleep with it tonight for the rest of his life.
He's going to keep that memory, and it'll be passed down in that family and in that community for generations to come. Extra point just as true, and Mount Airy creating the separation. 3 scores for Mount Airy for a second straight year in the state championship environment. Now, they looked a little differently this time around, right? The way they were able to get the job done. But the Granite Bears in command after this touchdown
get
call.
the flow going to one side, and just a throwback. He's wide open there. See, and all game you're running that. All game you're flowing defensively. All game, and then you hit him with that little wrinkle in the end, and he's wide open.
Southpaw, he's got a fastball as well. Plenty of touch to go with it. And there is the touchdown toss to Blake Hawks from Ian Gallimore. A couple of the seniors celebrating one more moment at the 2:02 mark here in the fourth quarter, and they are really starting to sense it now down below.
Right, and you notice Hawk, you see how tightly he had that ball grip? He's like, nah, this is going with me, and he ran to the sideline. Great moment for that young fella as a senior.
Blake Hawks listed as both a wide receiver and a defensive back as a free safety on this squad, and 6'2", 175-pound senior with his moment from the state championship. Set to return it is Mason Satterfield. Boy, you just begin to think about it as Tarboro is set to get the football back here. What an amazing year for the Vikings yet again. What an amazing run it has been for the Vikings. This team with the clock against them right now for a second straight year. But this is a dynasty in the eastern part of the state, having made a 7th consecutive trip now to state championship weekend. And you kind of reflect upon their season after the Smithfield's Chicken and Barbecue kickoff here, Eric. A tremendous year for Tarboro with the 3 1,000-yard rushers, with the latest of the titles from out east when they are the hunted year after year after year. This is a year that will be remembered as another trip and as a continued part of this run for that dynasty.
Yeah, and this, that's the expectation when you come into that program. You start working out, in the off season, over the winter months, and you're lifting weights. You're thinking, we're getting back. Don't know who we're going to be playing, but we know who somebody else is going to be playing. It's going to be us, and that's outstanding. Great culture for that program there.
One thing you have to remember, a number of these players back, we talked about that core group with Cole Craddock, Coach Craddock's son.
Substitution infraction against the offense. 5-yard penalty. First down.
And there you hear the call before the drive gets started here that will back Tarboro out just a bit. But we talked about that core group, particularly that group of juniors. He'll have his son Cole Craddock back for one more round. No reason to believe this team's not going to keep extending this tremendous run they've been on under his leadership.
Yeah, he does a tremendous job with the team, and the relationships that you build with the young fellas, and you're going to remember it for a lifetime. And once again, that's an expectation that they have. And coming into this program, we're going to get back to the show, and they're going to put the work in to do so.
Well, swarm into the football. Mount Airy foot remains on the accelerator defensively. There is a flag down just inside the 20. And here comes our call. Well, it looks like it's going to take one more minute for them to sort this motion penalty out. Here it is.
Illegal formation. 5 in the backfield against the offense. 5-yard penalty. Replay first down.
Just a point at which it's getting a little tougher for Tarboro now, knowing kind of where things are trending in this final 2 minutes. But this is a team, just to kind of put a little bit of a bow in many ways on what's another highly respected and tremendous campaign. 15th all-time appearance in the final game of the year, the one that matters. And this is a team that 9 times, having come out on top in that scenario, will use this as further motivation and another building block moving forward, no doubt about it. A carry for Satterfield as he's out just across the 20 to the 21. They have become the standard. When you got a formation that's known around the state with your name attached to it, it kind of speaks to how much of a factor you've been for a long time.
Yeah, and the products that have come out of there, most notably Todd Gurley. I mean, he played, of course, at Georgia and then in the league. And, it's a lot of hard work, and it's hard to prepare for. right? You have to reestablish the line of scrimmage. And, now they're throwing the ball. They're not accustomed to throwing the ball. And so you're having a pass block, which is much different than smash mouth. You know what I mean? So
DJ Joyce going to celebrate with Derek Dandy as they were the tandem on the scene. Remember, it was Joyce came through on a punt formation, had a kick block that set up a key scenario in last year's game, and he may very well have been the player to put the finishing touches defensively on this one. Steve Mann does such a great job overseeing the Sinclair championships, making sure local sports are covered, not just here in North Carolina, but around the country. He came into the booth when we had the headsets off in one of the breaks earlier, and he said, we do that whole player of the game thing. He said this is one of those days where the players, a bunch of players, it's this entire defensive group for Mount Airy. They have been impressive from start to finish today, and for a second straight year, Eric.
They've been smothering. I mean, to hold Tarboro, who averages 44 points per game, 300 yards rushing, to 3 points, right? And 60, 70, however many yards, whatever the final stats are going to be, but it's under 100 yards rushing when they have 3,000-yard rushers. That defense for Mount Airy has done an outstanding job, led by the fella Dandy.
In the last few moments, it's going downward. The total at 48 rushing, 58 total right now after the work of this defense. And they are watching as the seconds roll off of this fourth quarter game clock. And Mount Airy now knowing that what they have worked for all year long, back-to-back championships for the first time in the history of that community and this program, is on the horizon. And you see the numbers for the Mount Airy D. Our crew doing a tremendous job showing you just how anemic things were offensively simply because of Mount Airy's effort defensively. You tip your cap to their overall effort in this one. One more toss out in the direction of McDowell Moore. And the final seconds are going to roll off the game clock. And the mission is accomplished for the Granite Bears of Mount Airy. Back-to-back championships in Class A. It's Mount Airy staying on top of the mountain in 1A.
Congratulations, Coach. Well, we had the big question answered, JP. Round 3, what's going to happen? They held them to 3 points, right? And they did a fantastic job. Congrats to Coach Craddock and Tarboro. They did a great job in being here. We talked about that culture, but hats off to Mount Airy.
Looked a lot like round 2, Eric. The surroundings were baby blue and not that NC State Wolfpack red. But despite the location change, this was kind of a mirror image in many ways of what Mount Airy was able to do a year ago.
Yeah, defense wins championships. If they can't score, they can't move the ball, you put yourself in a better position to win. So congrats to that defense, stifling defense. Love Dandy. They had a dandy game, if I do say so myself. Gallimore, those fellas flying around, imposed their will, reestablished the line of scrimmage, and won this game.
Well, it's the crew out of Northwest 1A, the champions in Class A. Principal Jason Dorsett and company celebrating now, as is J.K. Atkins, the victorious head coach in the championship environment, standing by with Evan.
Thanks, guys. You've noted enjoying the view from the mountaintop. How does it look now as a two-time state champion?
I'm so happy for our guys and our community. We never flinched. It didn't look good in the first half, but we just stayed the course and we just kept swinging. And we made some big plays when it mattered. And it was a wonderful, wonderful experience.
Describe the impact of Mario Revels and his explosive plays in that second half.
Mario is such a good kid, and he's a tremendous football player. Mario's a guy, for the last 2 years, I don't feel like I've done a real good job of getting him the football because he is such a good playmaker. But he's so unselfish. He gives himself up on defense and blocks well for our guys. And to see him go out there and play like he did and have some opportunities to do some things, he was a game changer.
What does it mean for your defense to hold Tarboro under 60 total yards?
Our defensive staff is phenomenal. Our defensive players are even better. When you put that combination together, good things happen.
Congratulations on the back-to-back state titles.
We appreciate you. Thank you.
That's head coach J.K. Atkins, a victorious Mount Airy. And when we come back, trophies and celebrations here in Chapel Hill.
sponsored by the Carolina Panthers. For the state runner-up, the outstanding defensive player in this championship.
21 unanswered second half points to secure back-to-back titles for the Granite Bears of Mount Airy. We'll listen in to some of the presentations being made as superlatives are handed out to both the runner-up and the champions in this 1A title bout.
Thank you. That's all right.
The outstanding offensive player award goes to Cameron McDowell Moore.
That's it, right this way. There you go.
For the state champion, the outstanding defensive player in this championship, as selected by media representatives covering the game, is Ian Gallimore. And the outstanding offensive player award goes to Mario Revels. Ladies and gentlemen, there were many outstanding individual performances in today's NCHSAA State Championship. However, one stood out, and this individual was selected by a panel of media covering today's game as the championship's most valuable player. The most valuable player for this state championship is Tyler Mesa. We'd like to thank you for attending this year's NCHSAA Football Championships. We do ask for your assistance in picking up any trash in your seating area and throwing it in the garbage cans along the concourse on your way out of the stadium. This will help us be ready for the remainder of our championships. Congratulations to both our teams on outstanding seasons.
Well, those lifetime memories being captured as pictures are being taken and everything's set in stone. Eric, let's look back at one of the key moments of this one. Time to get our play of the game brought to you by Carolina Carport in there. And this was just when it looked as if Tarboro may be able to get the football back, make it interesting in the fourth quarter. Guess who breaks loose at the end of this? Mario Revels pulls up a bit, but he found pay dirt, and that is our Carolina Carport play of the game.
Congratulations to that young fella. That broke it open. That really set the tone during that second half, and congratulations to Mr. Revels there. I'm sure there's going to be many more of those plays to come for that young fella.
Jason Dorsett, the principal, Angela Mayfield, Abby Gallimore, familiar name, right? The athletic directors, and to Coach J.K. Atkins, his entire staff, congratulations are in order. Again, I'll say it, 21 unanswered in the second half. Back-to-back championships for the very first time for the Granite Bears of Mount Airy. We say thanks to those of you joining us for today's championship broadcast. Our broadcast, of course, presented all along the way by Tatum and Atkinson, the heavy hitters, but we are grateful for all of our sponsors: Tatum and Atkinson, Honda Dealers of the Carolinas, West Shore Home, NC 529, Hardee's, Talk It Out NC, Meg Brown Home Furnishings, Smithfield's Chicken and Barbecue, Windsor Jewelers, Carolina Carport, the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services, Ingalls Markets, all of our partners through Sinclair, Steve Mann, who was here today, Lee Scott, making sure behind the scenes all these championships go off without a hitch, for Lori Bates and her tremendous crew in the truck working hard for you here in Chapel Hill and beyond. For Evan, for Eric, Jason Patterson saying thanks for joining us. It's done for you, the fans. You are what makes this thing happen. We say thank you for joining us. What a joy to cover the first two of these state championships. Two more to come from Raleigh. Stay tuned for the remainder of the championship moments. This one goes to Mount Airy. Granite Bears, champs in 1A.